Jimmy Butler continues to put on historic performances in the playoffs, which have left the NBA community wondering how he's able to elevate his game so much, and a few of his ex-teammates wishing they still had Jimmy Buckets on their team. NBA community's reaction. Jimmy Butler is the definition of hard work and grind. He worked his way up from JUCO all the way to the NBA, from 8.5 minutes a game to 30 plus, from a role player to a franchise star, all through his tireless work ethic and the desire to just want it more than other players. So much so that now Jimmy goes by the name of Jimmy Buckets or Jimmy Playoffs as he continues to defy the odds. This included an incredible 56-point performance in the playoffs against arguably the best defensive guard, which left the Inside the NBA crew essentially speechless. Charles Barkley even went as far as to say that it was the best performance he's ever seen in the playoffs. Just take a listen for yourself.
The best performance I ever seen in the playoffs was tonight. LeBron scored 29 out of 30 at Detroit. We were actually at that game.
Including 25 straight.
25 straight and 29 out of 30. That was the best game I've seen in playoff personally until tonight. That was the best performance I've seen since I've been on television. It was flat out incredible. It was an honor and privilege to watch it.
Now, while JJ Redick believes that Jimmy is basically a Swiss Army knife and can do whatever his team needs, which is part of the reason why he is so incredible in the playoffs, this is what Redick had to say.
And sometimes that's defense, sometimes that's being a facilitator, sometimes that's scoring the basketball. But some of it is he puts up great stats and his advanced stats are great, but some of it is he doesn't put up these insane numbers. And so we I don't want to say ignore him, but we kind of just sleep on him and don't give him, I think, his due flowers during the regular season. And then we get to the playoffs and we're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Jimmy Butler's fucking awesome. I forgot. Because this isn't the first time that he's had a stretch like this in the playoffs.
Jimmy is known for his two-way game. He can give you 40 while locking up the other team's best player. Paul George has competed against and played with Butler and tells what he thinks separates Jimmy from other players. Just take a listen to what PG had to say.
Jimmy's will, his just passion, his competitiveness, he's got a dog in him. And this shows who has the dogs. You know what I mean? This is where the dogs come out. Jimmy is a dog. He's showing it. He's tough. He gonna talk his talk and he gonna back it up. That's the thing about Jimmy. You don't let him talk his shit, because he's gonna feed into that. He's gonna buy into the shit he's saying.
Now, there's no doubt that PG was telling the truth about Jimmy, as the more someone trash talks him, the better he plays. It's as if his superpower is to take trash talk and then turn it into buckets. His play has been so elite that he had 2 Hall of Famers in Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce lauding him. This is what they had to say about Jimmy.
What you think that is, P?
Them cats is built for the lights. You know who Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Butler.
Hey, I'm calling them playoff buckets now,
but look, he be in the regular season. Right. I ain't saying he coasting.
He is, though. I'll look at his line, and then every now and then, he'll show you something. Then get off it. When playoffs come around, he hit all the big shots. He take off. Listen, Jimmy Butler.
He a whole nother man.
Giannis does it. Middleton does it a little bit, too.
Not on the same level of Jimmy Butler, though.
Not the coasting.
Nah.
Middleton has a peak. You know what I'm saying? I hit some big shots, and I'm talking about healthy, too, right? This Middleton, this year been kind of iffy with the injuries and stuff, but his consistency to me, when he get to the playoffs, he hit big shots. Because, playoffs, everything get bigger, right?
Jimmy Butler go from regular season Jimmy Butler to a big face. It's a big face coffee.
Now, things have gotten so crazy with Jimmy that in order to stop him from scoring, you might just have to kidnap him and take him off the court. At least that's what Matt Barnes jokingly suggested when breaking down another stellar Jimmy performance. This is what he had to say.
From Miami, what could Boston have done differently to try to stop that train once it got going?
I don't know. Maybe what did Darvin Ham say to do to Jokic? Kidnap Butler the third quarter? There wasn't much. Miami came out in the second half and played with a lot more force. They wanted the game. They knew what was at hand, and they went in there and stole home court advantage. They completely silenced the crowd. Jimmy Butler down the stretch had the ball in his hands, and he's either going to score, get to the foul line, or make a play for his guys.
And he was already talking about taking game 2 you in the post-game comments.
Now, of course, if you've been following the NBA for a while, or at least following Jimmy's antics, then you would have heard about the famous story of Jimmy beating the Wolves starters with third stringers and immediately cussing out the organization afterward. Well, Jeff Teague was there, and he hilariously recalls how the whole thing went down and how crazy Jimmy really is. This is what Teague had to say.
I don't think Jimmy gonna practice. Jimmy ain't practice. Jimmy laying on there getting stretched out while we running laps. Tibbs said, we're gonna scrimmage. Jimmy hop up. I'm playing. Starters, Jeff, Jimmy, Wig, Taj, Cat. Jimmy said, I ain't playing with them. Well, Derek, you're in the starter group. Jimmy said, I'm playing with them. He picked the bad news Bears. No offense, but they was good players, but they wasn't making the team. I'm playing with them. We playing first game. Dump the ball. I got Cat. We throw it to Cat first play. Jimmy steal it. They go down, score. Like, come on, Cat, post his little ass up, man. He can't guard you. Fuck out of here. He trash. Steal the ball again. They go down and score. Jimmy start talking to the GM. Everybody in the gym. Y'all better mother effing pay me. I'm like that. I'm like, he is nuts. Me and D-Rose laughing in the game. We keep throwing the Cat. Cat finally scored. He too little. I'm like, yeah, Cat, talk to that mother. Man, he ain't nothing. Boy, they go on this 10-0 run. They dunking, hit threes. I remember Darius Johnson breaking windmill. Jimmy ain't scored at all. He just stealing the ball and passing to people, getting assists, just playing the right way. But he like doing everything.
And you know you're really that guy when an MVP caliber player like Joel Embiid still wishes you were on his team so the two of you could win together. Jimmy had a brief stay at Philly before moving on to the Heat, and that stay was enough for Embiid to wish the duo never broke up. This is what Embiid had to say.
Oh, man. Still don't know how we let him go, but, you know, I wish I could have gone to battle with him still, but it is what it is. You know, just gotta, you know, keep building and, you know, keep trying to reach that goal.
Now, while there is no doubt that Jimmy takes his game to another level when the playoffs come around, Gilbert Arenas has gone as far as to argue that he simply turns into a different player, which teams aren't ready to play against. This is what Agent Zero had to say.
Jimmy's going to turn into a different player, but they can't measure it because the player, you know, is not going to be in that stat book. What he's going to do is not in the stat book, right? It's like he just brings in a whole nother Jimmy to the playoffs that no one has been studying. That you just have to go back to his playoffs. You know, you got to pull Jimmy's playoff record and use that as Jimmy's stats. You can't use Jimmy's, you know, season as what Jimmy does. Yeah. And, you know, he just tortures everyone during.
Now, apart from being Jimmy playoffs, he used to have a reputation for being a bad teammate. Just go back and listen to that Jeff Teague clip again, and, well, you'll see why. But his current teammate and former All-Star Bam Adebayo believes that the reputation is unwarranted, and that Jimmy was a perfect fit for Miami. This is what Bam had to say.
Through the Chicago, Minnesota, and Philly situations, it just, you know, we kind of embraced who Jimmy was. Like, we knew Jimmy was an asshole at the end of the day. We all know that. But like, this culture embraces that. Like, we want you to bring that assholeness out. So then on the court, we got all 5 people that are like dogs.
Now, maybe Bam could have phrased it a little better, but we imagine Jimmy loved being called that by his teammate. He seems like he would. It's pretty clear that when the lights get brighter, Jimmy's game elevates, and the entire NBA community comes to appreciate just how incredible he really is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. And that being said, you just watched us break down what the NBA community really thinks of Jimmy Butler. We'll see you next time.